We have 15 minutes to talk about how Namada is shaping multi-chain privacy. For the ones who don't know about me, I'm Awa, and I used to work actually in instrumentalist capitalism. I joined Chainalysis when there were about 20 people. And now I work on goods for the public, specifically on Anoma and Namada. So the state of privacy today is pretty bad. The vast majority of changes are still pseudonymous, which means that they leak tons of transactional data, and you don't even need really sophisticated analytics to actually de-anonymize a big portion of most blockchains. But that's nothing new. But the bigger issue is that even if nowadays we see more and more zero-knowledge proofs and more privacy-preserving protocols being deployed out there, actually privacy doesn't get better for the user in the multi-chain. And that is because privacy is designed in a way that it fragments privacy sets. So if we look at, for example, there in the base layers, you've got Zcash, Monero, Aleo, and then a bunch of other transparent chains that might support applications that are privacy preserving, like Tornado Cash, ZK Money, etc. But the issue is that actually all of these users, they have one thing in common, which is they want privacy, right? So if we're able to unify all these privacy sets, everyone will get better privacy as opposed to having these smaller, more fragmented pockets of privacy. So the fragmentation is by currency, platform, and applications. So why does the fragmentation hurt privacy? Predominantly because the privacy set becomes small or like limited in size. So let's do an exercise as if we were working for Chainalysis. If you were North Korea and you're trying to like figure out what are these people in these states doing with cryptocurrency so they can psyop them more effectively. So what you would do is just take on-chain data. In this case, in this exercise, we're talking about a shielded set. So it's deploying zero-knowledge proofs. There is no transaction graph being leaked as long as you're in the shielded set. But the exercise consists of there's a shielded set that has only one ETH after it has received one ETH. And then it uses zero-knowledge proofs like Zcash and everything. But then you send it out, right? So if I were to analyze this and I try to my task is to look into all this behavior and try to put labels and identities behind these transactions. I will look at this and I think, okay, I have a pretty high confidence that this transaction going in and this transaction going out from the shielded set, even though they don't have data from the shielded set, knowing there's only one ETH, is pretty high that is basically the same entity. So pretty bad privacy here. Okay, let's make it a little bit more complicated. Let's say that the shielded set has like 3 assets, like one ETH, one DAI, USDT, and that different types of assets. And then let's say I'm going to be a little bit more of a smart user, and I'm going to send these assets into shielded set at T1, but I'm going to randomize, for example, when I'm going to withdraw the assets or take them out of a shielded set, and which amounts I'm going to take out. So that's a little bit more sophisticated. So from the analysis perspective, we'll look at this and say, okay, because the shielded set is actually really, really small, even in this case, this is oversimplified, of course, my confidence is pretty high that there's a direct correlation, direct link between these two entities that have transferred in, transferred out of the shielded set. Okay, here's another exercise. What's different here is that the shielded set is a lot larger. Let's say it has a large volume with different kinds of assets. Imagine a combination of fungible and non-fungible tokens, and it has large volumes. And in this case, it's actually a lot harder to say, even if I transfer it in right now, 1 ETH, and then I look at the transaction going out on 1 ETH around the same time, let's say, it's becoming a lot harder for me to assume or to say confidently that these two entities are somewhat correlated. What would be even better is this case, where you have, on one hand, the shielded set that is the largest possible, and that you're trying to see, okay, then the user, this you can do via a smarter UX or on the client side, where you, for example, randomize the amounts that you send out, and you randomize the times where you're transferring out of a shielded set. So in this case, it would be incredibly hard for somebody to say confidently that any of these transactions are somewhat related within the shielded set. So The takeaway is that size matters. When we're talking about shielded sets, it's all about how large they are. What does Namada do to help with the size of the shielded set? So the first answer is cryptography, a lot of cryptography. We have developed the multi-asset shielded pool. It is an extension of the Zcash sapling circuit. And basically what it allows you is to have one shielded set for any kind of asset. So instead of having these individual pockets of smaller privacy sets, you can actually combine them all into one in a way where within the shielded set, a transfer of for example, a no-sys token and a native NAM token, it will look completely indistinguishable. And the same thing will go for any NFT that is in the shielded set. It will look exactly like an ETH transfer. This pretty cool article that Ben wrote, actually, about the intuition of how the cryptography works. It's pretty cool. Check it out. Another thing you can do that helps with the size of the shielded set is it's not so much about like recreating the assets, because all these assets already exist in their own different layers and platforms. So it's about making it easy for assets to come into the shielded set. So with that in mind, Namada focuses a lot on being interoperable with other chains, but with the principle of not adding additional trust assumptions. So we always go for the approach of the minimal trust necessary and as permissionless as necessary. So with chains that support fast finality, some kind of BFT consensus, for example, Namada integrates with IBC. And actually any other chain that supports some kind of fast finality is compatible with IBC. So you get this native connectivity to Namada. And in the case of chains that do not support it yet, like Ethereum, we have designed custom bridges like this Ethereum bridge, which is 2A, and then it's designed with the principle of we're not adding additional trust assumptions like some bridges that are more like multisigs, and we're not adding more permission to the system. A third thing that you can do to aid the size of the shielded sets is funding privacy of public goods. So with this, we do it with even further cryptography. The MASP circuit was extended another time to add in the convert circuit. And this allows us to build cool features like basically a user that uses shielded set transactions will get a portion of the inflation as a reward. So let's say that you actually don't, you individually don't care too much about privacy, but at least in this case, if you were to choose, if you use the shielded transfers, you will get rewarded for it. But at the same time, the more people use shielded transfers, the better privacy guarantees everyone gets. So that's the idea behind privacy as a public good. And yeah, this is designed with it's basically in an instance of cryptoeconomics, shielded set rewards, and the target values. So yeah, there's a pretty cool article about the economics behind this entire mechanism. You can also take a look at it in the blog post. So the fourth thing that we can do to aid the size of shielded sets is to extend it via private bridges. I think there was a panel about this right now. The idea is that with chains or protocols that already support a shielded set, this will be the case with cryptocurrency protocols like Zcash. It would also be the case with private execution environment protocols like Alio, Espresso, and the ones that are coming. The idea is that if you connect them via private bridges, then the entire shielded set's actually shared. This has a bunch of UX advantages and just expands completely the shielded set and form into one. So in this world where we move from the existing state of Web3 into like one unified shielded set, and then you extend it even further by connecting via private bridges, that forms like an entire one set that is multi-chain, and that can be potentially much larger than just Namada alone. There's a lot more actually that I haven't spoken about how Namada can seed privacy, act as a private bridge, and shielded actions. Pretty cool feature. You can take a look at the blog post I wrote, which is Shaping Multi-Chain Privacy. So in a nutshell, the state of privacy is pretty bad. Privacy is being fragmented. There are small privacy sets. And that leads to very limited privacy for users, even though if horizontally we see more and more protocols and platforms that deploy privacy-preserving technologies and cryptography. The bigger the shielded set, the better privacy guarantees for every individual user. And in order to aid that, Namada features the unified shielded set, so all assets can share one shielded set with the MSP circuit. It fits privacy to existing chains that are transparent via connecting via IBC and trustless bridges. And it funds privacy as a public good with MSP as commit circuit, shared privacy with the private bridges. So if you combine all four features, you get to the largest privacy set in the multi-chain. Okay, but that's a lot to take away. So if you had to, if you have to stick to one takeaway, it's just that size matters, really, when it comes to private shielded sets. Like, it's the most important thing about for privacy for individuals. And yeah, the shape will leave it to. That's it.